Welcome back to the Pollard and Rapheal Davis podcast, brought to you by the Field of 68 Podcast Network. Today we have a really special guest on the network, a Fort Wayne legend, a Purdue great, a Super Bowl champion, someone in my younger years, me and my buddies we looked up to. We saw him walking down the South Side hallways and say that's what we wanted to aspire to do, come back and be able to walk down the halls and have that type of impact. But nonetheless, we got Bernard Pollard on the line. What's up, Bernard?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm living. I'm enjoying life in these crazy times.
Yeah, how's COVID treating you? What are you into now?
Dude, it's crazy. So it's funny, man. With this whole thing, you know, our entire house was hit some months back, probably about 7-8 months back with it. And thank God it kind of ran its course with us, and it nothing serious with any of us, our 4 children. I think it hit me the worst. I lost taste and smell. But, you know, for the most part, man, you know, we're good. These are unfortunate times where we're seeing people pass. We're seeing people die from this. We're seeing, you know, companies, businesses have gone under. People are struggling. They're hungry. They're hurting. But, you know, thank God, man, that we're able and we're still standing. So, you know, man, we're just trying to help out where we can.
Right. No doubt. That's real. But Bernard, something I always want to talk to you. I always wanted to learn about kind of how you came up. I know you came up in Fort Wayne where I grew up. What was it like growing up in Fort Wayne for you? I know you took the football route more so than I took the basketball route, but what was that like for you coming up?
You know what? It's one of those things, bro, where for me, you know, and it's funny because we were on William Street and y'all were around the corner. Y'all were behind us down the street from Starbucks now. And just kind of coming up, man, it was, I mean, just so many athletic guys around, always challenging your athleticism every week. We ran around, James, Mike. It was just so many of us playing football all the time. And then playing Metro coming up, you know, going to Geyer, playing at Geyer, and then obviously playing at Southside, being challenged the entire time. And every time I look back, I'm like, it's crazy how so many other guys did not make it out. When you think about the athleticism, you think about what they were doing in Metro and middle and in high school, you're like, man, how in the world did they not make it out? And that shows you how slim or how small the numbers are, you know, where it says less than 1% plays in the National Football League. I'm just like, wow. And then some of them didn't even go to college. And I'm just like, man, it's mind boggling. But man, it was truly a lot of fun. It was eye-opening. But most importantly, it built who I was and who I am as a man and as an athlete.
Well, what's something for you that you think, like you said, it was the same for me? You grow up with so many talented guys and you were the one to go to Purdue. I'm the one to go to Purdue.
Yeah.
What was it about you or your mentality that kind of you were going to do it?
Well, I think you got to understand, bro, and shouldn't say you got to understand, but people got to understand where we came up and where we had to turn that corner, where so many guys didn't want to turn the corner. They were comfortable being in the same position, being comfortable being in the same place at all times. And we're just like, you know, well, no, there's more to this. You know, when you, and I tell kids all the time, when there's a school, a college that's willing to pay for your education, for you to play sports there, and you don't want to take it up a notch, like you crazy. When there's a professional football club that's willing to pay you to come there and continue to play a game, a child's game, a game that you grew up playing. And yes, of course, it's a child's game, but at the same time, it's a business. All you got to do is you got to turn the corner again, because now you got to learn the business side of it. And for me, man, it was just like, you know, I didn't want to stay where I was. I remember coming up and I remember Coach Nolan being at Southside always telling me, like, Bernard, like this kid shouldn't even be in Fort Wayne right now. He should be playing somewhere in college, or this guy should be playing pro somewhere. And I'm just looking like I didn't want that to be me. I wanted to have my head on straight. I wanted to do whatever it took to make it to the next level. And I wasn't a guy that kissed butt, but at the same time, I was a guy that understood. I learned as I walked my path, I learned what I could do and what I couldn't do. And the things I couldn't do, I got rid of them. And I didn't take the same lane that a lot of guys took. And, I just wanted to take that path that so many others wanted to go left or right. And I went left because I'm looking like, no, I want to go the right route. So it's, that's what separated myself, yourself, and so many other guys.
No, that's a lot of mental toughness. Because I mean, not saying we had the same path or grew up the same way by any means, but being in the hallways at the same school, you kind of understand the same temptations. So it's a lot of mental toughness that goes into making those right decisions. Sometimes it's harder. I mean, I tell kids all the time, it's harder to make the right decisions than sometimes make the easy ones. I mean, the bad ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you get rolling, I got a quick question. This is just for me. Who you play Metro for?
So I played for the Chargers. So I grew up with Coach Chapman. Okay. So that was my coach, man. So I'm a Charger for life, man. We always go. We were actually just going back and forth on Facebook, Wade and a lot of other guys. So we go back and forth all the time.
That's a forever conversation. When did you start getting recruited? Was Purdue early? Was that the first school? Is that something you always knew you were going to?
No. So it's crazy. So man, I was. Right around my sophomore year, that's when, or my freshman year, letters start coming in, and going into my sophomore year, they, colleges were seeing my size and they saw my athletic ability, and so they start talking to Coach Land and asking him just little different things about me, and the letters just start flowing, and or Coach Bailey, and so the letters start flowing, and I started to see like, wait a minute, like. These dudes are real. Like I tell people all the time, for me, I enjoy sports, but it didn't click to me that I was good enough to go there. I mean, the letters were coming in, but the light didn't go off yet. So I was just one of them dudes where I was just like, I'm just good at sports. I'm just going to keep playing and, we'll see what happens. And so, I mean, the letters were coming, the letters start flowing about my sophomore year. And, I was a kid, 8th grade. I was just like, I'll go to Florida State. I'll play quarterback because I was groomed as a quarterback. Yeah. And I was like, I'll play at Florida State for 3 years. I'm gonna declare as a junior. I'm gonna be drafted in the first round. And that literally was on my time capsule that we had to bury in the 8th grade. Yeah, and so it's funny because when I got to high school and I started doing everything, going about my route, I committed to IU. So that's when Jerry DiNardo came from LSU and went to IU. And I went out to IU. IU was my 3rd or 4th visit. I went to Michigan, went to Penn State, went to Michigan State, and then went to IU. I loved Coach DiNardo. I loved the new weight room that he put down. I love his mentality, everything that he was instilling in the guys at IU. So I was like, I'm committed. I'm coming here. So I told him, I was like, Coach, I'm telling you right now, this is where I'm coming. So my father was like, man, he's like, Bernard, after I told him, my father was like, Bernard, are you sure you want to do that? And I was like, yeah. He was like, Bernard, I don't think you understand. Like, you got to go to these other schools and continue to talk to their coaches and see the players and see the campus and everything else. So, man, I went to Ohio State, went to a visit at Ohio State. They played Purdue. So when they played Purdue, I remember seeing Antoine, and we call him Bird, but he was a corner for Purdue. And I remember seeing him, and I was just like, man, something about that cat that I like. So then I went to my visit with Purdue and ended up going back. And I was like, this is where I gotta be. And for me, it didn't matter where I was going. My mindset was I was staying 3 years and I was declaring as a junior. I was playing as a true freshman, declaring as a junior and getting drafted. So that's what I did. Thank God he allowed that for myself. But yeah, man, it was right around my sophomore year when everything started flowing. But it wasn't until my senior year my senior year where I finally made the commitment to go to Purdue.
Hey, that's what's up. No, that's what's up. It was just kind of just a fit. Was it the player that did you see yourself in that player? Was it the coaching staff at Purdue? Was it the campus? What about Purdue kind of made it feel home? Because I hear that a lot with players. I mean, Paint was verbally committed to another school. Then Paint came to Purdue. What about Paint? I mean, not Paint, but what about Purdue gives that feeling that this is home?
Man, I just remember Brandon took, like, of course you took your visits and you go out with the guys the night of, after the game. You talk to the coaches. Coach Hagan he recruited me. He was freaking awesome. He was a guy where he was no BS. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't BS with you about nothing. He spoke truth. And Coach Chiller, he was a guy that, man, he was like another father to me. And he was true to his word. Every word, man, he was true to his word. And the players, I just had a good time. My recruiting class, Stanford, oh my gosh, that night we had a blast. Man, I just remember him in his lugs, and Joker had on some painter jeans with a big sweater. So, man, we were kicking it, you know what I mean? Like, we had a good time. And I just remember that Sunday morning when all the recruits came in and we were sitting with our parents and Coach Tiller was talking. Coach Tiller called me in his office and he was just like, look, I want you here. Mm-hmm. He was like, I want you here. I feel like you're going to help us next fall. And it was just one of those things where I was just like, it's it, man. It's it. And it was, literally, bro, like, it was no turning back. The Michigans, the Penn State wanted to move me to linebacker anyway. So I was like, that was a no-go. And then all the SEC teams, they saw me as safety, but a lot of them, some of the schools, I think 3 of the schools wanted to move me to linebacker. And I was just like, I didn't want to go that far away. I wanted to stay close to home, and just so my family could come and see me play. So, yeah.
No, that's real. That's good. That's on a big time. And you come in as a freshman and you play right away. And that's not easy to do in football. So kind of talk about what's that like as a freshman, knowing you, like you said, you had a plan. And what's that like being able to get to a campus? You go to, whether it be Lafayette, it's different from Fort Wayne. It's different from Southside. Yeah. Being in West Lafayette is different from being in Southside in the weight room and on the football field. What's it like as a freshman, keeping that same mentality? I'm going to take an upperclassman's minutes. And how'd you do that?
So, I've always been a player that I didn't care who was in front of me. My job was to go kill. I kept the same mentality from my younger years. My job, as I told people when I was in the NFL, my mission was to kill. My goal was the Super Bowl. That's just my mission is always from every point. Every time I strapped up, it was to kill, literally. Yeah. And so a lot of people, even in today's football, they confuse what defense is. Defense is aggressive. If I got to protect every blade of grass behind me, well, then my shoulder pads and my helmet got to do the talking for me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no swinging. Like, you're going to catch all of this. Yeah. So, I remember the senior that was in front of me, man, we were going into training. I showed up for training camp, and showing up for training camp, I played at 196 my senior year of high school, and I got up to 205 going into my freshman year. And Coach Lathrop just wanted to put weight on me. They saw me running around. I was always a hitter. I just had to pick up the playbook, because in high school, we had maybe 4 plays defensively. When in college, like, we got 35 plays plus adjustments to the plays, to the formations and everything else. So I had to learn that. So for me, it was just like, I wanted to just immerse myself in the playbook and just learn all that different verbiage and that language. And I just wanted to see the upperclassmen talk. I wanted to see how they talked. I wanted to see how they communicate on the field. I wanted to see the hand signals. I wanted to see what was truly a mic. Like, for me, I didn't know what a mic linebacker was. I'm looking like Antoine and Greg was our linebackers. Like, no, it was no specific position like that. You feel me? So for me, bro, like, getting there, just understanding who did what, the movement of the defense, the movement of the offense, how that changed our defense. It was awesome, but at the same time, I still had to stay focused on what I was there to do. And so Deontay was a guy, he was a pretty boy, dude loved lifting weights, but I came in, I was just looking like, man, this sucker, I'm like, man, your position mine, homie. Like, strong safety, I was like, your position mine. And I just remember a lot of the guys, we would be in camp, and everybody be like, yo, he on your heels, Deontay. He on your heels, D. And, he kept saying whatever, talking. And my thing is, I don't need to talk. As I told you before, my pads do the talking. So every time, wow, I'm talking about we in practice, I'm slapping jokers. So it's just like one of the things, man, where I'm like, yo, you got to do something. So Bowling Green, they tried to pay him his respect and let the season start. And, coming after that game, he was just, he was awful. And we went in the next game, and it was my position, and I kept it for the rest of the year. And I mean, the rest is history. So, I've just always had that mentality of I wasn't going to stay back. Once I learned it, y'all better watch out, because it wasn't going to stop who I was. I didn't care who was in front of me. I didn't care what the obstacles, the hurdles, whatever it may be. I was getting through all of that to go play football.
That's big. I mean, that's how it is. It's a dog eat dog world. You got to eat.
Real.
You had a plan and you was gonna eat. So no,
Yes,
I definitely get it. Being in the situation, I definitely get everything you're saying. It may sound like you said. It may sound. I don't know what it may sound to other people, but to me, it made perfect sense.
Some people get offended, but I'm looking like, no. At the end of the day, football is football. If we weren't wearing pads, if we were playing basketball, I can completely understand what you're saying. But hey, we wearing pads, so somebody, you better get ready to get hit.
I feel that. While you're at Purdue, because I sent out some questions on. I mean, just inform our fans that you will be with us this week.
Yeah,
it came back, and I have a question. This is a question I had, but I saw a video of someone else's opinion. I asked kind of what was your favorite hit, and I got a YouTube video. You lift someone up, and I don't know, it was Minnesota or someone.
Yeah.
But what was your favorite hit from college?
From college, I mean, man, it's crazy because a lot of my hits, and I tell so many people, everybody talk about all these other safeties and what they were doing and how they were doing it, all this other stuff. I'm looking like, dude, I've been doing that, right? So, the hit in Minnesota against Russell, I think his name was Gary Russell or Greg Russell, whatever his name was, but it was one of those things where I stopped that sucker in his tracks and I, caught him, picked him up, bam. And so, that was a lot of fun for me, but a lot of people don't understand. I hit a tight end from Penn State. Robinson threw him the football, and he was coming right across the middle. And I'm talking about, I hit him so hard, I heard him scream, and he dropped that ball. Man, I'm talking about, dog, everybody on defense crying. I'm looking like, I just looked at him, I was like, hey, sucker, he was done. It was over. I'm talking about, I think it was like 4 more plays after that. Mike Robinson tried to run the ball, slapped him, the running back came, slapped. I'm like, bro, so the games against Penn State, we played, hit a kid from Arizona State. We played Arizona. Oh man, I crushed this lineman. I had that. He was asleep before he touched the ground. So I mean, dog, I'm talking about like, bro, it's so many hits, man. My freshman year, I'm hitting jokers like, it's so many hits. I don't even know what's my favorite, but I guess the Penn State one sticks out to me because I just heard him scream. And I've heard that before in college. I've heard that before in pro. But the way he screamed, I'm looking like that scream told me he ain't want no more. And that sucker didn't come back in the game, man.
Oh, my God.
That's real, though, bro. Hey, ain't no sugarcoating.
Hey, I love it. When you were playing at Purdue, because I just want to talk Purdue a little bit more. What was that, Matt? Because you were in the DB. What was that matchup, or who was that receiver or tight end where you saw the scouting report? You was like, I can't wait for this game.
Oh man, it's funny because we never really. I think the team that we didn't like was Michigan. I mean, Ohio State was. I remember playing Ohio State. They always had some guys, but Braylon Edwards was a dude that I just disliked. I just did not like him. I didn't like him when we were in the pros. I did not like him. So when we played Michigan, I remember it's funny because I came across a clip. Stu sent me a clip where Stu and I was on the bench. They beat us. I think it was 36 or 31-3. And Braylon caught probably 2 or 3 touchdown passes. Navarro was the quarterback. They had a tight end, forget his name. But I just remember, like, he was a dude that when we played them, any receiver or tight end from Michigan, I just did not want. I wanted to kill them. I remember Michael. I think his name was Michael Hart, the running back from Michigan. Oh man, he was a little slippery joker, but man, it was Perry playing them jokers. I think they were the most disliked team. Anytime we had, we played Michigan, and we only, I think, played them a couple times during my 3 years there at Purdue. But every other team, man, for me, because, and not to say this to be any kind of way, but because I was a hitter, they tried to stay out of the area I was in and try to go other routes. And a lot of my hits came from me chasing people down. And so if I did catch you coming across my zone, it was over. And that's what Coach Speck was awesome as far as putting me in position. Coach Anarumo, my DB coach, was awesome, and he's actually a dude I got a call after this. He's with the Bengals right now. He's the D coordinator. So yeah, man, it's just Michigan was probably the most disliked roster that we had.
Right. No, no, and you finish up a great career because I mean, when I come into Purdue, I tell everybody, "Oh yeah, he went to my high school," and everybody knew. So it was like one of those things where you helped me get status. So your career at Purdue speaks for itself. Like you said, you went to the NFL. What was that transition like? Because I mean, like you said, less than 1% get to that level. What is that like going from the college campuses now? This is a job. This is feeding your family. This is your goal, and you're here now. I mean, well, this is your mission, and you're here now. What is that like?
It's crazy, bro, because it's one of those things, man, where for us, we understand after practice, especially our freshman year, sophomore year, I know for us, we stayed at Wiley. And so, after practice, after training tables, after, class, we all met up in a dorm. And that was our, we played around there. We had fun running the halls. Hilltop was the next place, our second year. That's where we stayed, as far as our recruiting class, our freshman and sophomore class. And we were just always around each other. So just that team camaraderie, man, was that friendship going, I wasn't a bar dude. I didn't go to bars or whatever, but I know the guys went to bars or whatever. And so we just had fun because we were always around. I think, that transition to the National Football League, it was like, okay, once we go to OTAs, we go to training camp. We were in my first year, or my first, second, and third year in Kansas City, we were in River Falls, Wisconsin. So we were at a dorm. So it was like that same feel, kind of. But then I was shocked because when we left after a week, 2 weeks being in River Falls, Wisconsin, it was like everybody went to their house. And so after practice, it was no dorms. It was no apartments, duplexes. It was literally, he went home to his wife and kids. You had jokers. We had a dude that was like 46. Like, he was a long snapper. Joker looked old as all get out. And I'm looking like, how is he on the team? Who is this cat? Like, but it's just like you got dudes that's married, dudes that's engaged, dudes with kids. Like, I'm sitting there, just turned 21, and I'm looking like, dog, like, let's go do something. They looking like, man, you young. Like, sucker, we got a family. And I mean, a lot of them suckers didn't like their families anyways, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things, bro, where that's the transition where you just like, oh, snaps. Like, okay, now at turning 21, I got to go buy a house or get an apartment or buy a condo. I got to have a car. And, for me, it was just like, I was excited because I was like, I ain't got to worry about parking tickets, being outside somewhere on campus. And I'm like, man, like, I can park at the facility. I ain't got to worry about tickets or whatever, but just going home to, like, and of course my wife was, who was my, girlfriend, who we've been together since forever, but she was my girlfriend. She moved, she gave up her scholarship at Indiana State and moved to Kansas City. And it was just like coming back to her, but it was just still, it was weird. So that was the biggest transition. The playbook stuff, it's a bigger playbook, a little more complex, essentially kind of the same thing. It's not as jig-rigged as college is, but man, once you learn it, football is football. And we just go out there and play. But I do remember, bro, a joker throwing a chicken wing at his wife, and he got arrested for it. And I'm just looking like, I was like, whoa, I come back in the locker room, and everybody killing this dude because he threw a chicken wing at his wife and went to jail. So we like, bro, like, everybody was like, people was asking, did you eat the chicken wing first and throw the bone at her? Or did you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just like stuff like that, dog. Like, it's mad crazy because just, the publicity is just bigger. Yeah. And, you just, it's big in college, but it's broad at the professional level.
What advice would you, that's hilarious. That's funny, man. What advice would you give somebody that's making that transition? Somebody that is making that next step. Maybe they don't have a support system. Maybe they got really good in their sophomore, junior year of college, and they're making that transition in the NFL. They never expected this to happen. What advice would you give them coming into the National Football League?
Change the number.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, I've had to change my number a couple times, and you know, it's that thing as you understand, man. You see who's in your corner from yay high. You see who's in your corner, but I think, you know, as you go to the National Football League or the professional level at any level, you find out, okay, who coming. You getting hit from everywhere, and it's just one of those things, man. Where I remember being drafted. And the next day, bro, I mean, first and foremost, I was sued the next day. And then after that, I got a voicemail talking about still to this day, don't know who it is, who it was. My mama need furniture for her living room and her bedroom. Like literally, it was just like, yo, hit me back. I was like, yo, who is this? And so, bro, like, it's just to the point where I would tell, I tell kids, change your number, because if they got access to you, you know, that's a killer. You don't need to have all these. It's cool to have a circle, you know what I'm saying? But that circle doesn't need to be huge. That circle could be 2 or 3 people, people who you trust, people who you love and who love you and trust you. And you know, that's the biggest thing, you know, and put your coins up, man. Put your coins up. Understand you don't need to keep up with the Joneses. You know, how rich people stay rich is they get things for free. Take advantage of that. Put your money up. Let people do things for you, and don't take advantage of it. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Like, people want to do things for you. People want to hook you up, and then you can bless other people. You know what I'm saying? Like with what you have and the things that you're doing. And that's one thing that I learned coming into the National Football League, and it's been awesome, and it's worked thus far.
Nice. And while you were there, you had great success. What's your I mean, obviously we watched you at home. We always knew what was going on. All the moments you had. What was your favorite time or favorite moment while you were playing in the league?
So I'm kind of at a crossroad right now, and I'll, you know, I'm at a point to where I was done when I was 30, and I'm sitting here at 36, and a lot of people will say, well, at 36, what are you doing? Well, I train athletes, I train DBs, I coach my sons. I'm defense coordinator at his middle school. He's being in 8th grade this fall, but it's just like one of those things where I've been to the Super Bowl, I've won the Super Bowl, I played in the Super Bowl with 6 broken ribs. I didn't enjoy the Super Bowl. I tell people that all the time. I didn't enjoy it. I was pissed off after the Super Bowl simply because things that transpired during the game, things I was asked to do that, you know, I shouldn't have been asked to do, but I had to cover somebody else's butt and then cover my responsibilities after that. And I just didn't like it. So I look at that, but I look at the way playing 10 years was a lot of fun. It was good. I had a blast, but I don't know if I finished the way that I wanted to finish. And I know God wanted to get my attention. And I left with an Achilles injury. I ruptured my Achilles. And it was one of those things where I know, looking back, I'm like, dang, like, God, you wanted to get my attention. So now at 36, I'm like, okay, I'm at a point now where I'm like, okay, I've rested for 6 years. Do I want to do that again? And so I'm kind of at that crossroads, because I've been running, I've been working out. I've never gotten out of shape. But I'm like, okay, I didn't finish the way I wanted to. I'm energized, I'm athletic, I still can go. My mission still is the same, and goal is still the same. I want another ring, and I want to end it the way that I'm supposed to end it, the right way. Yeah. So I'm at that point where I'm like, okay, do I want to come back? Yeah. and make some noise, because I want to do it my way, and I want to end my way. Yeah. So yeah, man, I don't really have a favorite moment. The hits are what I enjoy. You know, the interceptions, the fumble recoveries, the block punts, the block field goals, those are fun, the sacks. But the hits, that's what I do. Yeah. And they've changed the game they tweaked it and it's softer, but at the same time, these suckers still can catch these pads. So that's kind of where I'm at, man. So yeah.
What is that? I mean, may or may not be the conversation we're here, but what does that look like making a return to the NFL? Like, how does that? Just talk about it a little bit.
So it's crazy, bro, because I mean, at 36 in life, I'm young, right. But in their eyes, I'm old as dirt. Yeah. So it's just like, as I've said before, I was done at 30. I've never been injured. I've never been on IR. I didn't understand what any of that was like. So when I went through it, it was hard because, I'm looking at all of this and I'm just looking like, bro, like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, I'm not playing football, but at the end of the day, as I look back on it, and I'm a spiritual dude, bro, and I tell people all the time, I don't care what your beliefs is. I'm gonna love you regardless, but I'm a spiritual dude. I trust in the God above, and he has a path for me and my family. And God wanted to get my attention. And it's funny, as I tell people all the time, the way he got it was from my Achilles, me rupturing my Achilles. And I truly believe, he wanted to get my attention, and he has my undivided attention right now. And it's just one of those things now, all of a sudden, my feeling, my emotion, everything is taking me back to the game. Yeah. And so where it, I look at it and could it be tough? Yeah, it could be tough. But once again, where there's a will, there's a way. But most importantly, I believe if I'm being called back, that there's going to be a door that opens for me. I truly believe that. And so, dude, like a lot of people could say that, yeah, this can't be done. But I'm a dude where I've been fighting for a long freaking time. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed of how old I am. We all know the song, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, I believe right now that I can still help a football team. I believe that my leadership, I believe that my experiences, I believe that my athleticism and my abilities can step on a National Football League playing field, a National Football League field, and still help a football club. So I'm trusting in that. I'm still grinding. I'm trying to see how my body responded to my training. I've been going 2 days for a little over a week now. And I'm ready, bro. I really am. But once again, I can't be stupid. Got to be smart. But my body is responding, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, that's what's up. And I'm over here geeked up. I'm excited. I wish you the best. I wish you I wish you the best, and I wish you can continue your career. I mean, that would be beautiful because like you said, I mean, Tom Brady kind of changing the game with his age, LeBron's age. I mean, you're still young. I think it's being looked at now. I mean, first question you asked me before we started recording was what I was drinking. Make sure I wasn't drinking pop. So you're really taking care of yourself, taking care of your body. So, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't do it. I think that's I'm very excited to see where that goes. Man, so, I mean, I'm going to change the way I ask my next question. Up to this point, who has been kind of your favorite teammate, kind of that favorite guy to be around, or favorite team you've played on, or something like that?
I look at it, and it's weird. I don't necessarily have a favorite teammate. All my teammates, they made an impact on my life and my being a husband, being a father, being a player, different in all different ways, right? I look at it and I tell people all the time, me playing next to Air Reed was probably one of the best things God allowed for me to do. That was an awesome experience because, he looked at the game from a passing perspective and saw things that I never, ever saw, right? I looked at the run game and saw things that he never, ever saw. So putting that together with him and I was just awesome. I was able to learn. He was able to learn. I was able to bring things to the Baltimore Ravens. That was by far my favorite organization. They had that entire roster was like me. I'm a wild dude. I'm a dude where I step on a football field and I'm talking about, dog, it's going down. I'm a fight for my dog to the left, to the right, in front, and behind me. And that's how it was there. It was literally a jungle. It was a jungle in our locker room. It was just a mixture of dudes from everywhere that was willing to put it on the line for that man in the locker room. And so that was by far. And of course, winning a Super Bowl, was good. It was great. But I look at every team that I've played on, and I say, man, everybody's kind of impacted me. There's one guy, Kerry Williams. Kerry and I were born same day, same year. And I think I was born 3 minutes before him. And so he was a guy, we got the same attitude. He played corner, 6'3", 210-pound corner, 205-pound corner. And I'm talking about loud and just long and just always arguing. So when me and him clashed in Baltimore, it was one of them things where I'm just like, we argued all the time, but it was like one of them arguments where you look like, no, that's my brother. Like right. We're arguing, that's my brother. That's a family argument. Yeah. And he lives down the street from me. And it's just awesome. I think Kerry is probably a good dude as far as who's impacted me on the field as far as my professional days. Rashard Barksdale, he's in Carmel, Indiana right now, but he was the dude that I played with in Kansas City. That he's like my brother. But my brother is Brian Bierman. That is my brother. Before all of this came about, that's my dog. He's the godfather of my children. He's the man that is in control. If I die, he's in control. So that's my circle. I got a circle, and it's only 3 dudes in my circle. No, so yeah, man, it's crazy.
That's I mean, how big is because you speak about that a lot. You speak about that I heard you mention Mr. Nolan's name. That was someone that, for a lot of people who he really helped out. But how big is for you to, like you speak about just now, you have 2 guys in your circle from the NFL. How big is that to have a circle?
It's huge. Because I know, and my circle is Brian. My circle is Coach Nolan. These are guys who I communicate with all the time. Coach Nolan and I talk every day. Brian and I, we talk, and I'm gonna tell him too, that sucker, he don't be picking up my phone calls, but we text every day. But like I say, he's a guy who's a godfather of my children. Yep. He is the guy who's on all of my stuff legally. If anything ever happens to me and my wife, he's taking care of everything. My children are going with him. So it's, outside of my mom, if anything happens to my mom. But, it's very important, man, because those guys know you. Right. Those guys understand you. They know how I live my life. They know what I'm doing every day. They know what I instill in my children. They understand who I am as a father, as a husband, as a person. So if anything were to happen, they know, okay, keep my kids in church. You keep my kids around my family. You keep doing things the way that I would do them. They know how I take care of things. They know how I act. So it's very important because, when you get around people who don't know you and you start letting them in, they start pulling from you. They're not there to help you. They're just there to pull from you. And I don't need anybody pulling from me. It's too much in life. Life is pulling from us anyways. And we don't need to add that added extra hands and the extra mouths and all these extra opinions. I don't need that. And that's why I don't argue with people because I tell people all the time, I don't argue with women. I don't argue with men because with men, look, let's stop arguing. Let's just fight. You know what I mean? Because we can just put it to rest right there. But nevertheless, it's just one of those things where I'm looking like I just don't want to add any of that extra stuff. Nice. I'd rather stay around the people who I know, who know me, and we get it done.
No, I love that. Because, you speak about Bierman. That's a dude that has been impactful to me since 12 years old. He was coming to Memorial Park basketball games, give me a Southside hoodie. Yeah, let me come over to Southside and run with the older guys, picking me up in middle school, taking me that's just a solid dude. Even I start training now. I start training in Georgia. Bierman hooks up where he allows a young female player who necessarily doesn't have the funds to do virtual training or training on her own. He sees I'm doing something virtually. He pays for her to do training with me through the laptop before she goes outside to her park. So, that's just a solid individual. So I tell kids that all the time because the same, like a Bierman, the guys that put me through, I have a Mr. No, the same guys that put me through basketball early, those are still the same guys I communicate with every day. Right. And that just, to me, it gives you, like you said, they never take it from you, so it allows you to last longer.
Right.
You know what I mean? But No, that was real cool. And I just got a question too. How was that? What was that like playing with broken ribs in the Super Bowl? Did you just have a lot of adrenaline, or how did you not just fall out?
So it's crazy. So you know, you hear people say in the National Football League, rookies get you hurt. We had a rookie, and I mess with him to this day. He's a good dude out of Alabama. He hit me. I was going to sack Michael Vick, so I had Vick wrapped up, and he came and gutted me, and just I'm talking about He broke 3, and then what we did was every game I had to take numbing medicine. So I was taking 6 shots a game. The next game I played with, I had a pad. I would miss the first practice of the week, but then practice the rest of the week, or rest of the game, or rest of the days. And we would just take a pad and put a pad on, and then we would put a rib protector on, and I would play. So I was playing with heavier pads on me so I could protect everything. The next game turned around, broke 3 more. So it was starting to heal up as the season was going. We get in the playoffs. They were kind of healing. They were still broken. Played through the playoffs, got in the Super Bowl. Very first play of the Super Bowl, they ran an over route, and I went to go hit the guy. When we came down, just redid everything. So I had to run in the locker room. I think I got probably 8 to 10 shots to numb. Had to pad everything, and it hurt. But you know, as athletes, man, our pain tolerance, we have been kind of programmed to play through pain, because we know if we're not on the field, on the court, on the clay, whatever it may be, there's no opportunity for us to be seen. There's no opportunity for us to help. So our pain tolerance is a little different than the general population. And that's what a lot of people don't understand when they say, oh, well, he's moving around fine. He's running full speed. Those steps hurt. Those hits hurt, you know, but our pain tolerance is just different. So it sucked. It hurt. But then once again, at the same time, as I said before, I didn't end it the way I wanted to. You know, I missed tackles that I shouldn't have missed, responsibilities I missed I shouldn't have missed. And I need to go get all of that back. And I want to get as close to 1,000 tackles as I can. And I got a couple more people I need to put on a John Deere. So yeah, man.
Because this is just me. I mean, if I'm somebody and I'm looking at it, I want the dude that played when it's time to win, that laced them up and wasn't scared to go out there. That's why, no matter how old, no matter where, no matter anything, if that's the guy, if you can still lay the wood, that's the guy I want out there on my team fight for me. That's the guy that I want my foxhole. If we got to go to war, that's why, and that's who you want around you. Like you said, that jungle that you was in, that locker room, that's the locker room I would have loved, because that's what you want to be around, because that's what wins. Yeah. But I won't keep you too long, man. Because I do have some questions from Twitter. I threw it out. One of them from Southside. Southside threw out a question, and it's interesting because I didn't realize, were you and DeMarcus Beasley in school at the same time?
No. So the Beasley boys, they were there a couple years, and you know, if I remember correctly, they left. But they were I think maybe 3 or 4 years. I want to say they're probably 41, and I mean I'm 36, so they're 40, 41. So I think they might have been there with my sister-in-law, if I'm not mistaken, and my cousin. The
question is, I asked this is Southside asks, who has a faster 40? They said you, DeMarcus Beasley, and I'm guessing they're saying Mr. Nolan when in his prime. Who is that?
Beasley probably had the fastest 40. He probably would have had the fastest 40. You know, I ran they clocked me at a 4. I think the combine clocked me at a 4.59, which was bull crap. Freaking ran on a bad growing. But nevertheless, I'll hit any one of them. And I tell people all the time, I ain't never been outran on the football field. So
I feel that.
I ran a 4.51 at my pro day. But I ain't never been outran. So I don't care what 40s tell you. You get a sucker. I done seen dudes that run 4.2 that been outran. I ain't never, ever, not one time been outran.
I feel that. No, that's real. And one last thing. I saw you got your jersey retired at Southside. I saw you had your family with you. I thought that was unbelievable. I thought that was beautiful. That's the last question I got. What is that like to be able to go back to your stomping grounds, go back to where I guess where you not just start, but where kind of you blossom. What was that like going back to Southside?
It was bittersweet simply because we're in COVID and they were only allowed, I think, 50 fans or something like that. So it was bittersweet. It was awesome to be able to see the guys that I went to war with in high school, to be able to see them and hug them, talk to them, to be able to be presented the plaque from my coach who first started with me, Coach Mark Bailey. He's a guy where I love him so much. His family, his wife would make me cookies. Oh my gosh, every Thursday. And just to be able to get back, see Coach Nolan, man, it was awesome to be able to see the teachers, to be able to see people I went to school with. Man, I saw women and men that I went to school with. It was just a lot of fun. And it was fun to be able to go back and just speak life into the football players. And I mean, that's a struggling program right now. And I mean, it's to be able to go back, the athleticism is there. It's the other things that got to come along with that. But to be able to see them play their butts off and almost beat Snyder, that was a lot of fun. But the most important thing for me was my sons and my daughters were able to see that. My family was able to come. My mom came in from Georgia. Man, it was just so much fun for me to have my family there with me. For my son, my oldest son, who's 13 now, him just kind of just sit there, just soak all that in and be like, this is what happens. Because I talk to him. We live in the suburbs. And I'm like, bro, like, you ain't got to grow up fighting like I did. You ain't got to grow up seeing, so I got to instill that fight in him because it's just hard being out here in these suburbs, man. But nevertheless, for him to see that kind of turned a switch on for him. That clicked for him a little bit. But that was just amazing. It was truly a blessing. And then to find out too that I would be in the Hall of Fame for Southside was just truly amazing. So I actually got to go back this spring for that. So man, it's just been crazy. It's been a lot of fun. It was truly a blessing, and man, it was big time.
Nah, that's what's up. Nah, I appreciate that's big because I mean Southside's done a lot for both of us. I mean, football, basketball, the program in general. Like you said, we have a lot of friends that maybe didn't make it outside of Southside, but I mean, still to this day, we represent for who we represent for. Yeah. But Bernard, man, I mean, anything I could ever do for you, let me know. I appreciate the time. I mean, if you're out there, make sure you check out our basketball camps coming up for spring break in West Lafayette, then our basketball camp in April in Fort Wayne. But Bernard, thank you. I really look forward to this comeback. Like, I got geeked when you started telling me about that. I'll make sure I tell everybody, check that out. But Bernard, thank you again to all the Purdue fans. Continue to watch, continue to tune in every week. Boiler Up with Rapheal Davis. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, Rapheal Davis 3. Bernard, you got anywhere you want to follow you at all, or Twitter, or Instagram?
I'm at Crushboy31. But man, look, I just have fun. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, well.